coming. We're all going to let you do a brief introduction about yourselves. You can start on the end. Steve. Yep.
I'm Steve Doeppke. I'm currently a supervisor. I've been a resident here in Clayton County all my life. Graduated from Central Nelcator. I've been married for 49 years to my wife Janita. We've got 3 boys. And I've worked for the Iowa DOT for 42 years. And I've been a fireman and a police officer for 25 years each. And I've been a supervisor since 2019. And I'm running for re-election.
Okay, go ahead. Doug?
You.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Doug Reimer. I have farmed, do farm on the home farm. My great-grandfather bought it in 1870. I'm the 4th generation. The 5th and 6th are in line, so it's gonna be in our name for a long time. I live on Ironwood Road, which is 5 miles. It ends at Palm and Barn. You go 5 miles north, and that's where I'm at. And I've been on many boards, many different types of boards. 3 of the more prominent ones would be Land O'Lakes Corporate Board. It's a national company, $14 billion in sales, between 13.5 and 14 when I got off the board 4 years ago. I've been on Silos and Smokestacks, which deals with tourism for Northeast Iowa. And I've also been on the Guttenberg Hospital Board, which is completely out of my realm of what I know. And it was an education, it was very good. Happened to be chairman of the board during the most of our building process when we rebuilt about 10 years ago. And looking forward to continuing on. I want to give back to the county. I don't have an agenda. I just want to give back to the county and do what's best for the county and the majority of the people that we can help. Thank you.
Wester Simons, I was born and raised on Colesburg Road. In '62, I got married to my wife Carol. We moved to Colesburg. I was on Colesburg Fire Department and fire chief, ambulance instructor, EMT for 25 years. Then we moved back to the family farm north of Colesburg. And I've been working with the public, whatever, and I hope to keep on doing that. I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
I'm Phil Specht, and my experience, I'm kind of like Doug. I've been married 47 years to my wife Sharon, and we farmed and dairied on Pleasant Ridge Road. I grew up in northern Jones County. We bought our farm up here in 1971 and only had 1 set of machinery, and I drove a tractor back and forth for about 3 years. And from Castle Grove Township to Pleasant Ridge Road, there's a lot of different ways to go through Clayton County. And within a mile or 2 of the same distance, you get to see the whole county. And my reason to run is we have the most beautiful county in the state of Iowa. And I don't think you can, you know, Al McKee might say that, but Clayton County is a county with amazing natural resources. And my experience was, I've served on a bunch of boards too, and kind of working with numbers the size of a county budget would be on the Three Rivers FS board, would have kind of the same size budget as Clayton County and the same choices and priorities. But I also chaired like the local Dairy Herd Improvement Association, and I worked in county government as chair of the Clayton County Conservation Board for a number of years. And but the other experience I had, which was kind of a lot bigger budget, like yours, Doug, was I was one of 6 people on the Iowa Democratic Party Coordinated Campaign Committee that allocated all of the advertising dollars for the state party. So that was kind of one of those things where there's a lot of decisions about some big dollars that you're juggling back and forth between candidates. And that led to, I was host to the Clinton Gore bus tour. I was the host of that, which meant at that time mainly working with the Secret Service. If you're a host to a presidential, something like that, you work with the Secret Service. So that's my background, but I've contributed millions of dollars to the local economy as a family farm with my employees and my milk check and all the things that I purchased. And dairy farming is the single largest multiplier effect of local dollars, and family farms are central to Clayton County's economy, and I want to assist there too.
So I know it's hard just to pick one, but for each of you, what is the top issue that you'd like to tackle if elected, and why? Go ahead, start with Steve.
Steve? The budget's always the top of the list. We gotta have a balanced budget, and equipment, it's just harder and harder to get equipment and get parts to fix the equipment. And we're dealing with communications, towers for the sheriff's office, EMS. That's another big project that's coming up. And those are my top issues. And I'd like to improve our level of service to the public. Our roads and stuff need to be upgraded. So that's my top priority.
Well, Steve should have an insight on all this, being the incumbent, so he should have a better insight. And I've done some little bit of research over the last few days. I've talked to some employers, and I met with Ms. Kelchin, Darla, and that just was eye-opening. She's the head of the Clayton County Development Group, and so many different things. And there are just a lot of top priority things. I don't want to single it, because then you say, well, he's got an agenda to do this. There's more than one thing that we need to work on. Budget's important. The development group is very important. Housing is important. Labor is important. The people that work for the county, the people that work for the employers, but we gotta go back to the housing. We need that. We just need a lot of different things in this county, and we just have to prioritize. To pick one, I don't think would be fair. But they're all important. Don't get me wrong, they're all important.
Go ahead.
I know, I've been in the ambulance business for many years, whatever. Our communities in the small areas are having trouble getting financing and to keep the ambulance and the crews going. And there are your people with pushing of the button that are there at your safety and to help you. And I think we need a little more funding for the ambulances services, other than going, well, if you have to rely on the hospital, you're talking another 20 minutes to get from to the scene from where the hospital is located, whatever. And if we do rely on the hospitals, then we're going to have more staff at the hospitals to maintain the ambulance service. Other than that, I would say that's one of mine, working with the public for the public.
My priority is to leverage tax dollars. Maybe we need to hire one more employee that just writes grants, because the dollars are coming down from the federal government. The state is contracting, and property tax pressures are gonna be rising at the county level. And so if we can get some of those, roads is a big issue, and bridges, and so it might not be an obvious thing. Housing is, in my estimation, the #1 need in the county. So that affordable housing, so we can get young families that work. This is a beautiful place to live, and so bringing down dollars, affordable housing, creating housing opportunities, add more kids into our schools, keep our hospitals open, our schools open, and do it by leveraging whatever resources that we can provide as property taxpayers through these other programs.
Okay. Phil, I'm gonna put you on the spot first with this next question, and we'll go the other way around. How would you work to be a good steward of the county tax dollars? I
think that the #1 way to learn how to be careful with dollars is to be a farmer. I think my experience with the FS board was a really good one because it's cooperative. So they kind of teach you that your membership is the owners. And I'd like to bring that mentality. I got sent out to Charlotte, North Carolina to a national convention of cooperatives, and I learned from like Diamond Almonds are a cooperative, and Sun-Kissed Oranges are a cooperative, and a county tax base, if we treat it like a cooperative where it's for the good of the membership, that's how tax dollars ought to be spent, so that those budget numbers, and I'm familiar with working a budget, so the decision to whether or not to have a patrol or a couple trucks that can double as snow plows, maybe you can't get all three, so you gotta decide, do some of that juggling, and that's the kind of thing that I also learned on the FS board is how to juggle those dollars.
Yes, I know, I'm on the Farm Bureau Board, Clayton County, and we have the budget there, whatever. And it's hard to discuss what's going on unless you have seen the budget or keep up on the budget. And we've got to keep the taxes in line. Like he said, the farming experiences, a lot of tax dollars and whatever, a lot of money changing hands. So that would be one of the main things I would look at is keeping the taxes under control to so we can keep the people going.
Steve, could you, no, I'm sorry. Doug,
Would you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. How will you work to be a good steward of county tax dollars?
Well, first, I'm fiscally conservative, so that would help. And you have to take the whole broad picture, and you look at the picture, and you look at your different, whatever you have to spend the money on, and see how you can allocate it out. Where the biggest bang for the buck, I guess is the way to put it. And with my extensive co-op experience and being on the hospital board, and we went through the building project, you looked at budgets after budgets after budgets, and you just have to decide what is best for whatever project you want to look at to help the most people. And that's the most important thing, is the dollar spent to help the most people. I guess that's the bottom line. And I'm conservative fiscally, well, however. So I think we got the point.
There you speak.
Well, we're fortunate enough to have all our department heads do a very good job on their budgets. And they come before us and present a budget. We go over it all. Sheriff office has their own budget, and they do a very good job. It makes our job a lot easier as a whole to distribute the money. And I can't say enough for the department heads. They do a good job.
Next question is, what are your ideas for attracting and retaining younger people in Clayton County? Start with you, Steve.
That's a problem. We've got problems getting young people to come to work. We're short people now. We need a mechanic, and we're working with a new engineer now. Plus we had an IT man. We got a new one of them. But getting people to come and stay is a problem. I don't know what the answer is to it. We've done several different things, and we get some people, and they'll stay for a little bit. Some of them are still there that did come, and then some of them left already. So it's just a challenge. I think everybody's got that working challenge with whatever jobs they're into.
Well, I think a little bit of it goes back to housing. Some of it goes back to what their heritage is, if they're from here or whatever. We have 2 grown children. One lives in Garnerville and one lives in Cedar Falls. It's job availability. And it's just, we just need to be able to provide things. We need to provide good paying jobs. But we also got to think about their nightlife and their recreation, what they want to do there too, that we have that. And it's just a combination of things. And I think it'll be a problem for time to come. Something we have to work with like the development group or, all the towns, and it's gonna take a group effort. It's just not gonna be 3 supervisors getting this thing done.
One thing we gotta do is, I would say, I have talked to some of the county employees. I think they do need a raise in pay. We can't expect them to spend money in the county unless they have to spend. Another thing is, there's not really that much in the county for people to work at. I've got 11 of my kids work at John Deere in Dubuque and Waterloo, and there's no way that you know, the county could keep up with the kind of money they're making as far as engineers. But we still gotta get money here for our county employees so they can keep up. Other contractors are hiring employees from the county and giving them more money and better benefits, and that's one of the things that we gotta keep in mind.
I come back to housing as our #1 need in the county. You can't expect a young family to come here and work for the wages, and our wages are competitive basically for our cost of living, but in order to attract new people in here, we've got to make sure that we have jobs that pay. I'm gonna point to the tripod there because that was gonna be my speech, is this county has 3 main resources. Agriculture is #1. Tourism is big, or the attractiveness of the county. And the third is our skilled workforce. We've got a skilled workforce, manufacturing, we've got the good jobs that we do have are manufacturing jobs. So 2 out of the 3 are based on the natural resource base that we have. Agriculture, we have to protect and preserve our land. That fits right into the resource, the tourism. Trout fishing requires water quality. Agriculture has to contribute to that. This is a 3-legged stool. Right now, we got to get a new employer into Monona to replace the jobs that have just been lost here.
I think Phil just kind of stole the thunder off my next question. Natural resources are important in Clayton County, not only for agriculture and tourism, but overall quality of life. How will you work to preserve them? Let's go ahead and change this up a little bit. I'm going to start with you, Doug.
Repeat it again, please.
Sure.
I think I got it here.
Yeah, natural resources are important in Clayton County, not only for agriculture and tourism, but overall quality of life. How will you work to preserve them?
Well, we as individuals have to, and I'm talking to farmers, we have to protect what we have, and 99.9% of the farmers do that. We have, I think, our Clayton County, Fayette, El McKee, I see are here tonight. They do an excellent job. There's a problem once in a while, but that things happen when you're involved in livestock or whatever, and that's been kind of a so-called problem in the past, but we need to work together as a group again. I can't stress that enough, and no matter what we do. And part of it is to protect our resources. We gotta have the people out there monitoring it, but you gotta be realistic. Our counties in northeast Iowa, livestock has been very important, crops are very important, but again, tourism is very important. And our tourism is natural, like Phil said, with the streams and all these beautiful trees or whatever. And so it's a combination of people just plain simply working together and doing the right thing.
Steve?
I think Doug hit it in the head. It's a lot of just common sense. You leave it as you found it, you know? That's what I always thought. Instead of disturbing and destroying, leave it as you found it. And we work with the soil conservation people. They come to our office and discuss things, and we deal with it. And I think the county secondary roads, we deal with them. They try to conservation part of it, not fixing washers and what have you. So, we just take it as it comes. We really haven't had any big deals yet.
Bill?
Yes, conservation is going to be one of the main items. I think we're going to run into problems with the tenure and the farmers trying to rent land. I know farmers in my area are getting $300 an acre for rent to leave it lay. And yeah, that's a good idea, but we gotta have the farmers that are in the renting business, they've gotta, get a fair price, or otherwise they gotta, they're gonna have more invested in what they can make off the property, and that's not good either. So, we're going to, like they say, probably leave it as you found or whatever, but we gotta do good soil management, good fertilizing, and keep our forest and one thing intact. That's about all I can say.
Yeah, I'd like to broaden it back out to my experience with Bloody Run. The watershed was one of the designated by the state of Iowa priorities. And so there was public money from federal, state, and then cost share. So as a farmer, you have to put up half of it, basically, a third to half. And from the time that I started farming with Bloody Run running through my farm in 1971 to after that program was all done, there was tremendous improvement in the water quality in the Bloody Run trout stream because of all the terraces that were built. There was a lot of work done. And I think the county needs to involve itself in promoting partnerships. And that to me was just a success when we had 10 inches of rain here this summer in a period of a few days. And Bloody Run would have normally taken out the casino back in the day, but now there's all of this conservation structure has been built on the land, the conservation farming adopted, and it came out of its banks a little bit, but not out of the lowest floodplain. And that was pretty impressive to watch that. I cross on Iris Avenue, the stream, and I get back to partnership and bringing people together, not just in the county, which is very important, and I think you guys are representing that well, that we need to work together in the county, but we also have to be able to avail ourselves to these other resources.
Okay. Our final question for you is, what is your long-term vision for Clayton County? We'll start back with you, Phil.
Getting back to tourism as being one, we have a great cultural resource here in the county. We've got tremendous customer service through restaurants, and the local music scene is incredible, local musicians. And I think that we could play off of, or assist in that as a county, and again, assist in it, be a partner in it, help with it. But it gets back to my mind is, if housing is the need, we have to shift to thinking about what would appeal most to young people to keep them here, because then the county's just gonna grow naturally, keep our schools open.
Okay, Les?
Tourism is a main project. I know we have a lot of people come past our place, even bicycle riders that ride all over the country, and we are, keeping the county as good as we can as far as tourism, whatever. Like I said before, it's nice, and it's kind of interesting, with the 10-year program, you look out across these fields, there's thistles and weeds and everything else, and it really don't look good like it's a good-looking county, which I don't know what the answer is to that. They don't have to cut them as far as that goes, but, some of that stuff would look a lot nicer if it was kept in contact, tacked, as far as trimming or clipping or whatever. But, yeah, it's, people are going through all the time looking at different things, whatever, and it's a good place to go through the county roads. There is, one thing that I think would help out now, some of the county roads have been made sea level roads. They put gates across them. That keeps any of the people that would be on tour or whatever, like your four-wheelers and that, they could have a nice trail down, check out the scenery, one thing or another. And it's still county right away, but there are gates across it. There's no way that people can ride on that property. But it still belongs to the county, which, you know, they could leave that open and use it for tourism, for the four-wheelers, side-by-sides and whatever. And I know there's different places where they have trails set up for four-wheelers and that kind of stuff, but, you know, if they could ride these other roads and join one another, I think it'd be a good idea there.
Okay, Doug, what is your long-term vision for Clayton County?
Well, having it better than what it is today, and we're in good shape today. Now, there's a big expansion going down at the Field of Dreams. I happen to be a security guard down there. I think we called unarmed security guard for the 2 ball games they had this summer. And it was great watching what was going on. I didn't even get to see any of the game, but I was close enough to it to hear the crowds. And I saw a lot of people coming in, and they weren't from Iowa. And they could not believe they were watching a Major League Baseball game where if you hit the ball good enough, it goes in the cornfield. And they're just surprised about the stuff around here. And there's gotta be a way we can, I don't wanna use the word leech, branch off of what the money they're spending there to help our tourism up here. And there's gotta be something there we can work on. And just overall keeping our farmers in our county, I think, do an excellent job of farming the hills. One board I was on, we met down in Marion one day, and down there the land's pretty flat, and the guy had relatives up at Postville, and he drives through Clayton County to get there. He said, I don't know how you guys farm that ground. And I said back to him, I don't know how you stay awake farming your ground. So we're doing a good job, and any job being done can be done better, and we just have to look at the right ways to improve things, but it takes cooperation from everybody. Whether you love the tourism part, the ag part, the industrial part of our county. We've got a great county here, we're very diverse, but I see nothing but positive things as long as we keep working together.
Steve?
Once again, our infrastructure needs some improvement, our roads and bridges, farm to market roads, and that's gotta work together with the budget and with our county services that support all our people. They do a good job, and it's just a community effort to make things better.
Would you guys like anything any of you would like to add? A couple of closing remarks to make. Steve?
Get out and vote November 8th.
Doug?
Yeah, get out and vote, and I've been a big proponent, and I think Phil and I were even in the paper together once back in the 90s. When he was Democratic chair, I was the Republican chair. We had an article, I'm pretty sure we did, about voting. You know, obviously Phil cares who I vote, I mean, we care each how we vote. We don't always agree, but people need to vote. And through this process, since I started this back in March or whenever, I can't believe the number of people in this county that are not registered to vote or that don't care to vote. And that's just, there's too many people in the cemeteries that fought hard for us to have these liberties. Also, there's too many people that never made it back home from the wars. And this is one way we can thank them, just to go out and vote. Yes, I want you to vote for me and not these three, but you know, that's probably not gonna happen, but that's, just go out and vote, and I'd appreciate your vote very much. Thank you.
Yeah, he's got the right idea. We're all here to ask for your vote, and hopefully, I know probably split it up, but, just keep me in mind.
Yeah, the important thing is, you can even vote, I think, starting 20th, 19th, 20th, soon, a few days from now. You don't have to wait till election day, it might be snowing. It's Iowa, right? Today, there was a pretty abrupt change from a couple days ago. The last couple days, we're changing seasons. So vote, and we're lucky in this state that you can register to vote on election day. Go to the courthouse, they've got the records. And you might have been scrubbed off them if you haven't voted for 6 or 8 years. I don't know what the number is, but if you don't vote for a while, they just think you're not a voter anymore and you're off the rolls. You're not automatically there. So when you go to the vote and they say you're not here, fill out the form, register to vote, and so then if you're not sure, the courthouse is a good way to do it. Vote early. They've got everything there, and I think you may need something like, it's not as bad as getting a star on your license or a passport, but you might need a bill that has your home address on it, so you can verify that yes, you do live in the precinct you want to vote in. But vote for me.
As they say in Chicago, vote early, vote often.
Right.
We give these guys a round of applause.